Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Padmavati Tungaturthi from Teach Connect. I'm a quality education specialist. Class 10 sample question paper, English language and literature is no barrier for the student to solve it. The comprehension passages and the creative writing passages are very important, and the students can express their creativity and the intellect in these two areas. Comprehension is something where the students will have to comprehend, that means understand and try to respond. That includes comprehension over there. And creative writing, how best they can express. That is what creativity is asked in creative writing skills. There are totally 15 minutes given for students in order to read the complete question paper. Yes, for the academic year 22-23 also, this 15 minutes time period will be allotted to students, or the student should manage their time in order to read the complete question paper. For those who cannot skim the details of the complete question paper, it is important that they read both the comprehension passages and the 4 creative writing components which are given here. Total 15 minutes is given. There are 4 paragraphs for passage A and 3 paragraphs for passage B. That means a total of 7 paragraphs have to be read, and the guidelines for the comprehension have to be understood. Next, the creative writing skills guide points have to be noted down. It is better if the children allocate this 15 minutes only for the comprehension passages as well as for the creative writing skills, because the rest all is grammar and the literature from the textbook, where the students are aware of what questions on an approximation would appear in the examination. When 15 minutes are allocated, each paragraph in the comprehension must take 1 minute to understand the content of the passage. That means the student need not write the complete notes about the topic, but try to understand in the summary what has been given. Then the second step is flowing with the question paper and writing the question paper or answering to the question. In these 15 minutes, the students will read the 7 passages, 4 creative writing components, distributing the time as to 1 minute per comprehension passage and 2 minutes for every creative writing question given. Then the rest of the components will flow while answering to the questions. Let me share the screen in order to show you as to how to utilize these 15 minutes to comprehend the passages and the creative writing skills. Let me share the screen now. This is the sample question paper for the academic year 22-23, English Language and Literature, code number 184 for the class 10 cbse examination. That's a final examination. The total time allowed is 3 hours. That is 3 into 60, 180 minutes. And the student has 80 marks for this. 15 minutes prior reading time is allotted for the question paper. Section A is reading skills. The child has to be very smart in reading this comprehension, 1 minute per passage. Then, how should they comprehend what is given in passage number 1? Mountains have always been held in great awe by mankind. That means the passage consists of material which talks to them about the mountain and how beautiful they are. Go to the last line of the passage. So, mountain climbing is undoubtedly one of the most popular adventure sports, along with being challenging and risky for the climber. That means this is the bracket for the first comprehension passage. The first sentence says that the mountains have always been held in great awe by the mankind. Next, then Mountain climbing is a popular adventure. That means they would be talking about how a person, a climber, can has taken effort to go onto the mountain, and this is a sport, adventure sport, all in the last line, with being challenging and the risky for the climber. That means the challenges would be mentioned, the risk taken by the climber is mentioned. There is no need of reading the complete passage for comprehension during the first 15 minutes time allocated. Later, it is the responsibility of the student to read all the content given. Otherwise, the student cannot answer the question. Now go to passage number 2. Without any perceived risk, there can't be a feeling that any significant challenge has been surmounted. That means every significant challenge includes a perceived risk. You have to keep in mind that this passage this passage has opened the topic with risk associated with climbing. Then there are numerous institutes in India and abroad that offer such training. That means those who want to climb, this is the bracket, those who want to climb the mountain, they should get proper training in a particular certified institute. This is what is written in this passage. Paragraph number 3. Mountain climbers are unanimous in agreeing that the unpredictable weather is what they fear the most. That means the child has to look at the first sentence, deduce that some risk associated with the weather would be mentioned in the passage. Then the last sentence of this passage, a true mountaineer may challenge the mountain, yet is always respectful to the powerful forces of nature. That means how he has to take a decision, and he should not succumb to the nature's powerful forces, but should still be able to climb the mountain. That means decision-making skills are required here for the climber. This could be the material given here. One passage must take 1 minute for the first sentence as well as for the last sentence of this paragraph. Now, paragraph number 4. Summiting mountains carries its own health risks, such as oxygen and altitude sickness problem, frostbite, swelling of hands and feet, fluid collection in brain or lungs, and exhaustion. That means all sorts of health risks are associated in this paragraph, and how the climber has to overcome them. Now, come on. The biggest risk is not to take the risks at all. Remember that. That means this is a famous quote by Bachendri Pal. And the biggest risk is to not to take the risk at all. That means the passage has a bracket of mountain climbing, risk associated, and people do it as an adventure sport. Every paragraph has first sentence boundary and the last sentence boundary, so that the child can understand how to decode what is written in the paragraph. The same goes with passage number 2, paragraph number 2. Small paragraphs form a big passage. The northeast of India is a melting pot of variegated cultural mosaic of people and races and ethnic tapestry of many hues and shades. That means there are many shades associated. Hues is the dark color and the shades are the combination. That means there are thick lines as well as thin lines, smudging lines also over here. That means there is cultural hue and shade mentioned. We have to keep in mind that they are going to talk about the people and the different types of people in the northeast of India. The last sentence. For this new and growing breed of tourists, the northeast with its variety and uniqueness holds immense attraction. Are they talking, is the passage about travelers? Could be, because they mentioned very clearly about the uniqueness that holds immense attraction. Paragraph number 2. A study conducted in 2020 by Dr. Sherab Bhutia revealed that the foreign tourist arrival in the Northeast increased from 37,380 persons in 2005 to 118,552, that is 118,552 in 2014. That means this passage has a second paragraph which tells us about the statistics and the encouragement in numbers. The last sentence of this paragraph 2. Foreign tourist arrivals in the Northeast witnessed a growth of 39.77% during 2014 from 2013, according to data provided from the Ministry of Tourism, Government of India. It takes 1 minute to comprehend the bracket point of this paragraph. Statistics, then increasing numbers, then the data is provided by Ministry of Tourism, indicating the authenticity of this paragraph and the data given here. Therefore, paragraph number 3. The study recommendations for tourism planners included the need to concentrate on some key areas like enhancement of tourist facilities, tourism financing, focus on community involvement, and others for the formulation of a sustainable tourism strategy. How are they going to plan? With this one word, we know that it is going to be a sustainable tourism, and there are strategies given over here. Based on this kind of decoded comprehension techniques, the student here has spent 7 minutes to read this passage. Both the passages, it took 7 minutes for the student to understand what actually paragraph by paragraph is all about. Then, in the second round, the student will have that confidence that he knows the content of this comprehension. And here, creative writing skills. Section B is creative writing skills. Now, how to write creative writing skills over here? This video is not meant to give spoon feeding to the teachers or to the students. This video will only teach the teachers how to teach the students in turn. There is no point in teaching one by one question to the teachers. The whole gist of it and the mechanism strategy behind the creative writing skill has to be decoded by the student himself or herself. Now, attempt any one from A and B given below. There is one passage A, and how they are going to understand what is this passage during the first 15 minutes. We have finished 7 minutes of it, and now this is going to be the 8th minute, 2 minutes for A, for B, and in the second part, A and B, because this is for the decision-making skills of the student, how the student can exercise his or her decision-making skill. This is important over here. The creative writing skill passage is going to be very easy, but choosing the right one where the child can express the feelings is very important. You are Sunidhi Prakash, the Vice Captain of Brilliant Vidyalaya Barra, Kanpur. You have recently noticed several posters around your school premises conveying a hazardous message. There is a hazardous message about Wonder Diet. No wonder this is given in bold letters for the student to immediately comprehend what is it all about. Write a letter to the editor of the DWA in not more than 120 words, drawing attention towards harm caused by such advertising. Propose the implementation of Wholesome Lunch Month in schools as an idea to address such practices. Mention the advantages and share suggestions to foster healthy eating routines and develop positive body image among youngsters. The whole passage is about a few points. As a student, I have noticed that there are several posters around school premises asking the students to go on a wonder diet so that they can reduce their weight and remain healthy. But remain healthy is not mentioned here. Then write a letter to the editor of DWA. This is what the student is going to write in not more than 120 words. The student has to learn how to jot down the point. Drawing attention to the first point, harm caused by such advertising. Next, implementation of wholesome lunch in schools. Next, addressing such practices. It has to address such practices, mention the advantages, share the suggestions to foster healthy eating routine, and develop positive body image among youngsters. There are points which are written here. The first point should be religiously mentioned about harm caused by such advertising. That's the first point. The student is now going to propose the implementation of wholesome lunch month in schools. This is an idea to address such practices. The second one, advantages. Share the suggestions to foster only healthy eating routine. Fifth one, develop positive body image among youngsters. There are 5 points given. Each one can be of 20 words. If 7 to 8 words or maybe maximum 9 words make a sentence, there should be about 2.5 or 2 lengthy sentences or 3 small sentences about one particular point. First one is regarding harm caused by such advertising. Second one, how to propose this idea of wholesome lunch month in school. Third one, advantages. Fourth one, sharing the suggestions for healthy routine. Fifth one, develop positive body image among youngsters. You have to give your ideas. The student has to give the ideas over here. Therefore, if the teacher can handhold the student to underline these words, write down about, there should be a rough draft work done for this. First point, 2 or 3 lines. Second point, 2 lines. Third point, 2 or 3 lines. The total will definitely come up to 100 words. The salutation, the covering letter, the initial 2 greetings, the sentences, whatever the formalities are, they will be 120 words, and the student can successfully complete this comprehension of writing, understanding. This is writing skill. It is assumed that the student reads it well, comprehends it well, then comes to writing skill. The language has to be expressed well. Therefore, creative writing skill in Bloom's taxonomy is on the top. Therefore, the student has to be creative in expressing the ideas. Simply lifting the sentences will not go good here. Now, 2 minutes to read this. Therefore, you are Zachariah, a resident of #412, Magna Green's apartment, Gandhi Mart. Note only that the address is given here. Student of grade 10 from your residential complex have rescued and rehabilitated a few old beggars from the neighborhood. You think that their work deserves appreciation and recognition. Write a letter to the president of the RWA seeking recommendation of these youth to be nominated for Serving Citizens Award. Suggest other ways such as kindness should be recognized and rewarded in the future. Therefore, reading this passage will just take 2 minutes to understand that this is a gratitude and kindness letter which the student is going to give. Come on now, after reading it completely, what is that the child should do? Should go to the next question and choose one among these two. Second one, attempt any one from A and B given below. Gurmeet Kaur is an aspiring candidate for a public-funded engineering college in the suburbs. She's a candidate, she's applying for some public fund. She belongs to a nearby village, has minimum technological skills and exposure, has the required cutoff percentage, and is looking for a complete or partial scholarship. Write a paragraph in about 100 to 120 words, analyzing her SWOT notes, strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat notes, to support your stand on whether she should join or not join the college. Marks are not deducted for joining as an advice or not joining for an advice. Marks will only be deducted if the student cannot express herself well or student cannot express himself well. Therefore, there is no need of going through all the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. The student must understand that there are strengths given, weaknesses given, opportunities given, and threats given. After that, in the second round, the child will understand how to write the answer for this. Either this passage or read the following excerpt from an online post of a website on an educational practices. I think the above letter, the comprehension part of this content should be done between 1.5 to 2 minutes. Or read the following excerpt from an online post of a website on educational practices. Kids who appreciate how much effort, time, and care goes into growing food will understand how important farmers are. That means very interesting topic about farmers and why it's important to take care of our earth. In the world of today, gardening needs to be given more importance than sports, music, and dance in all schools because it creates environmental stewards and outdoor learning laboratories that help the child and community for years to come. This is again an argument which has to be given here. It might be correct, or you want to argue against it. That doesn't matter. Do you want to pick up what the information is there with SWOT theory, or the child wants to write about this particular content? You could think what alternative explanation might weaken the conclusion and include rationale. Evidence that would strengthen, counter the given argument. Anything we can choose, whether they want to write, there is an oblique sign over here, they want to support this or weaken this. Is it for or against? It's all the child's wish. Now it's the child's decision to understand which topic to pick up. In a flow, I have already discussed question number 1A, but now we will go to the comprehension passage and understand more. Now, until now, the 15 minutes which are allocated for writing the paragraphs have been done. Now the child will again go to the first page and read. This 15-minute bracket is done. Advise the child not to finish off the passage before the 15th minute. Let the child read again if the child has completely comprehended the topics or making a good decision as to which answer, make a good decision. The child has made a good decision as to which one they will answer. Yeah. After reading the first passage, the student has understood that it is all about climbing as an adventure sport. Let the child read this paragraph again, all the 5 or 6 sentences which are given here. Understand the what, where, when, why, who, how components. Very important that the child understands in the mind as to what, where, when, why, who, how components. How are they going to understand the beauty? What are the challenges which are included? Who are all the people who are going up? This is how, if they can decode it, go to the next passage then. After reading completely the first passage, the child has to answer the question pertaining to paragraph 1. Now again, going to passage 2. Going to this first passage, paragraph 2, read it completely and then go to all questions pertaining to paragraph number 2. This way the child can write down all the answers for these questions, and when the child has a border, it is easy for him to answer the comprehension passages. Now going to the creative writing skills. First one, I've done it for you. The second one, therefore, there is a residential complex and they have grade 10 students, good job. They have rescued and rehabilitated a few old beggars from the neighborhood. The place is given, that's the neighborhood. The people are the beggars. You think that their work deserves appreciation and recognition. Write a letter to the president of RWA seeking recommendation for this youth. The first point is mentioned here, the recommendation. The letter, that is 120 words, must consist of recommendation for these youth. They are nominated for Serving Citizens Award. Suggest other ways, such as one is kindness, that could be recognized and awarded in the future. You can add gratitude, you can add concern, being considerate, evaluate. There will be 5 components again, and each one should have 20 words. The introduction and the closure will have again about another 20 words. Therefore, the intro and the conclusion will be of 20 words, and there are 20, 20, 20, 4 such paragraphs or 5 such paragraphs. You have 100 to 120 words. That's how the student has to underline the main points in this, how to write down, suggesting other ways too, as kindness. But be careful to use the vocabulary that you know and incorporate and integrate it seamlessly with the content given here. And everything given must be related to appreciation and recognition, the methods. Here, the student need not describe how they have done the rehabilitation process because it is not asked for here. The students are asked only to write down seeking recommendation for these youth. Why they should be recommended? Everything should fit in 2020. 1 point should fit in 20 words. That's how the student has to write down. Now going to question number 2A. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. Strengths and opportunities go as the positivities of the child in order to go into this public funded engineering college. Weaknesses and threats are one capsule weighing out the positives and the negatives for the student, and they ultimately try to weigh out. It can be a yes or a no, but is the child able to support the idea? Are the strengths more for the students or the weakness more? It is only an expression. Marks are not deducted for writing a yes or no for joining or taking an admission in the school. Now, read the following excerpt from an online post of a website on educational practices. Now, here we are given how should we support the statement. Again, it is 100 to 120 words to analyze the given argument. How much effort, time, and care goes into the growing food? Why it's important to take care of our earth? Everything, the bracket confinement is the passage given here. What is that which would strengthen making the students be aware of growing food? Or should they really overtake the sports periods and given more importance than sport? The student has to analyze the point, make a rough draft definitely for these creative writing skills, and then write down how many points you are going to choose, and each point will be about 20 words. The marks are allocated for expression rather than the decision over here. This is how we have to conclude on the comprehension as well as creative writing skills. Paragraph by paragraph, that completes 7 or to 8 minutes there. Another 2 minute creative writing question. The student will try to read it, make a decision, and then continue writing. This is one such tip which I can offer to you all to do your final examinations well, especially with respect to comprehension and creative writing skills. Especially with respect to comprehension and creative writing skills. Thanks for watching my video. Share it to others. Be a part of this quality education support program. Thank you.